One of the most difficult things to predict is how your bot will operate in the real world. There are so many unexpected things that can happen in real time that might cause your bot to fail. Even the best bot developers can be surprised sometimes. A way to deal with this is by using logging. But what is logging? It means that we can write information to a file that helps us track where the bot is in its execution and even record some data at the time the bot executes. By detailing what the bot is doing in process and including any error conditions, operators have a better understanding of what happened to cause the bot to fail. Logging can also be used to provide an audit trail of successful and unsuccessful bot runs. The action we use for this is in the log to file package. It allows us to write some text into a file for future inspection. For this simple exercise, we're going to use the log text to file action that's inside the log to file package, and we're going to use this to record how quickly our automation can perform a very basic task. This automation will log the start time, count to 1 million, and then log the end time, effectively allowing us to see how long it took for the bot to run by looking at the log file. The first action we're going to use is from the string package, and it's going to be an assign action. This action will be used to define where we write our log file. It's best practice to create a variable for the file name because if you need to change the output file name later, you only have to change it in this one place. In the select the source string or variable, I need to put a full file name and path for my output file. Now I already have a C-bots folder on my computer, so I'm going to go ahead and type in C:\bots, and then I'll name this file /timer.csv. For the select the destination string variable field, let's click this X in parenthesis and then create a new variable, which we'll call S for string output file. I'm not going to set a default value here because, well, that's what's going to come from this value right here. So all we have to do is just hit create and select. Now from the log to file package, I'm going to add a log text to file action to my automation. For the file path, I'm going to click this X and then select my S output file variable and click Yes Insert. For the enter text to log, I'm just going to put in a comma and then the word start. Now, what does this do? What's this leading comment about? Well, we're going to be writing this out to a CSV file, and we'll be using that append timestamp checkbox here shortly, and the comma puts that timestamp into its own column in a CSV file. So speaking of that, let's go ahead and tick the append timestamp checkbox. Now for this when logging, I'm going to leave that up to you. If you want to keep a running list of start and end times for this automation, maybe just leave this as append to existing log file. If you want to clear the file each time this automation runs, then we'll select the overwrite existing log file, and that's what I'm going to do here. Now for what we're doing, the encoding of ANSI is fine. I'm not going to change that at all. Now to simulate the automation doing some work, let's add a loop action to our automation. And I'm going to leave the iterator as loop for n times, but I am going to change the number of times to 1 million. Now don't panic, we're not going to have this loop perform any actual work, it's just going to count to 1 million. Now after the loop action, not inside of it, I'm going to add another log text to file. Now this one will be similar to the one we just had, so if you want to copy and paste, that's up to you. For the file path, I'm going to click the box for Insert a Value and choose my S output file again with the S insert. And this time for the enter text to log, I'm just going to put in comma end. I am going to check the append timestamp checkbox. And regardless of what you selected on that first log text to file, I want you to choose the append to existing log file here, because we want to add this end value after the start one. And that's all we need. Let's run this automation, and when it's complete, we'll take a look at the output file. Now usually the output file will open in Excel or some other spreadsheet application if you have them installed when you double click on that output file. And what you see here is the timestamp in the first column, then the word start, and the second timestamp at the end. So I can see it, in this case, it took my automation 2 seconds to count to 1 million. Not too bad. By the way, the other action in the log to file package, this log variables to file, this allows us to log those values of any used variables from our automation to a file. This can be quite useful if you need to track the values of your variables over time in a log file that you can check after the automation is done running. So what did we learn here? The log text to file action writes a single line of text to a file. An enter is added to the end of each line written. If we want to write to CSV files, we must include a comma between each column of data. In other countries that use different delimiter characters, use the one appropriate for your region. The append timestamp puts a timestamp, enclosed in parenthesis, at the beginning of a line. If you're writing to a CSV file, start your text with a comma to put the timestamp into its own column. Thanks for watching, and go be great.